let's have a look at this last story. This is a really sad story, and I noticed we've already mentioned him once in this show tonight, but the revolting Karen Plunkett making some kind of joke about where all those woke journalists go. People have lost jobs and losing incomes and are going to have to look for new work. So you don't have to be a complete cunt about it all the time, you pile of pancake batter. But let's have a listen to what. Is that the right thing? Is he pancake batter? Is that what we're saying these days?
Yep. Poorly mixed, lumpy
poorly
bubbles in it. Yeah.
All right. So this is the statement that the guys on the project gave out on Friday night.
If you're watching tonight, it's probably time for us to talk about that thing that everyone has been talking about in New Zealand over the last 24 hours. It was announced yesterday that after almost 7 years on air, there's a proposal for our show, The Project, to end for good in just a few weeks. We got the news yesterday and we took last night off. And we took the day, most of yesterday actually, to spend some time with our team and think about all the incredible work that we've been lucky enough to do with them on this show.
Yeah, we've been really, truly blown away by the feedback we've received from you guys watching at home. Thank you for watching us and supporting us over the years. Thank you for those messages, not just for us who you know, but it means a lot to everybody that has worked really hard behind the scenes to make this all happen. So now the plan is bring you awesome shows every night for as long as we are still here. Look, you might think that we just kind of hung out and did whatever we wanted to yesterday. That's not true. We spent a lot of time thinking about some sort of big story ideas that we'd like to do as we sort of wind down towards the end of the year. One of the team members pitched, would it be good for the project's health if we all just went to a luxury spa? So we'll be bringing you that investigation.
Donuts, do they still taste good?
Yeah, so we'll have to eat all of the donuts. Puppies, should we all be given one before the Christmas comes? That kind of thing.
Yeah, it doesn't really bother me. My career's littered with with bodies of dead TV shows. So this will soon just be another corpse on Corbett Highway. We move on.
Can I just say, as a guest and friend of the show, it's always been such a joy to join the panel as a fourth. So, you guys have done an amazing job anchoring this show over the last 7 years, and you are such positive, awesome people to be around, and the whole team's amazing. So, if I was to score this project, I'd give it an A+.
Oh, I just,
Thank you.
I just hope Warner Brothers Discovery can forge on and get over this.
Yeah,
hope they survive.
We still have plenty more great shows to come before the end of the year, and then stay tuned for my OnlyFans.
There you go. That'll be the end of it. But look, I mean, there are people even in the chat here kind of going, oh, well, who cares? Doesn't matter. I guess from working in the industry, which I have, I think about the people around it. I mean, we saw this with Today FM, disappeared, like 30 or 40 staff members are out of work. I don't know how many there are with this, but there's probably 20 people who this pays their salaries, sort of thing. And I firmly believe that whether you like the style of a news outlet or not, one less news outlet, one less place to tell New Zealand stories makes New Zealand not quite as good a place to be. Because even if you don't like who they are or what they do, other people do. Like you like us. Hi, we like you too. Other people hate us, but they might like the project. So, it's a place to be informed. And if a place to be informed goes away, then I think it makes us all a little bit worse off.
I mean, I have conflicting views on the project. It's a spin-off of an Australian show. Could we not have done something ourselves? It's a very light infotainment show. Whereas I wish there would be a bigger deep dive into some of the things that they talk about, that they just brush over. Like, it's a great show for a politician to come in, drop a couple of slogans and dip without really getting questioned about what he said. And it's just, he's just a regular human that says that beneficiaries should be kept in camps. Anyway, on to our next story. I'm not necessarily a big fan of that. However, I'm a comedian, and I know a lot of Auckland comedians that have had semi-regular gigs on that show as guests and that sort of thing. And that's an important aspect of that community, because, you want to get stage time, you want to get your face out there, and that was a paying gig. and now it's gone. And now I question what is going to replace it. Is it going to fill that same hole? I have big concerns about New Zealand media. Just the legacy media organisations, I don't think are adapting to how people want to watch and consume content these days, and they're sort of scrambling around, and this sort of, oh shit, what do we do, makes for very uncertain times for people in those industries.
Yeah.
You know, we've experienced that of like trying to show these big legacy companies of like, hey, did you know that you could do this for a low price? And they go,
not that low, not that low though. If you're watching legacy media, we're not that cheap. We're cheap. We're not that cheap.
Look, we could do this professionally for the. I'm sure. What did I say? Tova O'Brien's annual coffee budget would probably do us quite well.
Look,
microphone.
I know people who have worked there and who do work there. Like we talked about Jeremy Elwood today. He used to be the, I think it was the head writer. He's not there now, but he was for a while. He ironically kicked in that gig just before COVID kicked in. And I think he looks back at that thinking, oh, that was an interesting time to go a paid gig. But I know people who still work there, and I'll identify this person. But I know someone who's, let's just say they're senior in the group. Now, whether that means they're on screen or off screen, I'm not going to say. But said to me, after it had started up, because yes, you're right, it's a spin-off of the project in Australia. Australian, the project was very successful for a long time, and then it just started to fail, and then they got rid of it over there in the last 12 to 18 months. But when it was very successful, this person that I know who works at the project now said to me, the reason this kind of program is good and it's successful in Australia and not here is because they don't have a Shortland Street. Shortland Street has huge numbers. It drains all the advertising dollar, and it takes all the eyeballs for 7 p.m. And so Australia doesn't have a Shortland Street. And that's why here in New Zealand, those 7 o'clock programs have always struggled. Now that person then went in and worked on the project and is one of the people who is losing their job. But I thought it was an interesting perspective, which probably actually means it's done pretty well for itself to survive 5 years up against a Shortland Street. And I think, unfortunately, it's just going to come down to dollars and cents, and that's a pretty cruel media world. I mean, it's not as cruel as Today FM, who didn't even get given a chance to get to 5 years, but you can see when those groups do it, they're just like, we're done. I've never worked for a group that's had that pulled out from under me, but I have worked in radio where my contract wasn't renewed at the end of the year. So I get it a little bit. You kind of go, shit, what am I going to do next year? But it must be, I think about the people working in the rooms out the back that no one sees the face of. We said this about Today FM. We went, Tova will be fine. Lloyd will be fine. Look at them. Tova's on stuff and Lloyd's on TV3, I think. They are fine. You know, Corby will be fine. Jesse Mulligan works on RNZ. They'll be fine. Who won't be fine is perhaps the writer's room, or who won't be fine perhaps is the grip, if they still have grips these days, or maybe the audio people, or people who are going to have to go from a full-time job to a part-time job for News Hub because they've now only got, you know, the news in the afternoon to do, but not the news in the afternoon and the project at night sort of thing. That's who I feel for.
Is anybody else just absolutely shook by the fact that this sort of thing it's still like, oh, we can't do anything better than Shortland Street? Come on, New Zealand. It's been decades. Is Chris Warner even still alive?
I don't know. And look,
like,
to be honest,
I don't know.
To be honest, me saying that was a conversation from about 4 years ago. So I don't even know if Shortland Street is still the behemoth that it once was, but certainly of the era, it was dominant in that 7 p.m. time slot for so very, very long.